In spite of efforts by the Nigerian government to revive the textile sector with protection policies aimed at reviving local production, imports of textile and textile products have more than doubled in 2 years, rising more than 100% to 365.5 billion naira in 2022. These are not my figures. They're according to the National Bureau of Statistics, reflecting the industry's growth in the first quarter of 2023. According to experts, with a focus on sustainability and quality, Nigeria is poised to become a major player in the global textile and garment market. Report says that the global textile industry is valued at $920 billion and is expected to grow to about $1.23 trillion by 2024. China, United States of America, European Union, and India dominating the market. Let's understand what is happening and the challenges we face in this part of the world. I have the right man in the house. I introduced him earlier. He is the Director General of the Nigerian Textile Employers Association, Mr. Haman Kwajafa. It's good to have you in the studio. It's been a while. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Tolu. Thank you.
Well, a lot has been happening in the industry. Yes. I'd like you to first update us. What's been happening? Despite all of the interventions we've seen, we're still not getting to where we should be. What are the main issues at the moment?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome our Minister of Industry.
Yes, a lot of work cut out for her.
Trade and investment, and then there's been a lot of agenda for her to look into. And it's not a tea party here coming to the textile manufacturing, because it's been a long way. And we are hoping on renewed hope that something this time can be done. Because she's just quickly started off by going to India. And when they went to India, they must have seen the infrastructure on ground to keep the textiles on. In the 70s and 80s, I think we have lost more than 150 textile mills. And no government will sleep over that and do nothing. Because it's a great industry employing over 250,000 workers. And the country enjoyed it because it was the second largest employer of labor. And that has cut off all the insecurity issues, the bandits, what have you, kidnapping. Because at least we had people working, doing something with their hands. And that has achieved a lot. Because look at it, the whole north now is become shamble of itself.
Yeah.
There's no more textile. Kaduna and Kano used to be beehive of textile industries. But now what happened? They just closed down. And then all these things are coming from the north. The bandits, all sorts of terrorism, all sorts of kidnapping is coming from there. Because people are not working.
Good job.
So now that the president, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has taken the gauntlet by going to India to see how are they doing it there, or what's happening in India. India, for them to be prepared for textile industry, have a whole ministry. Now we are talking about Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, so many companies. So many India singled out textile to have a ministry. And they have textile parks. So that there's no increase that comes midway in the year, and it will affect companies. Government will normally defray any increase, particularly on electricity and anything that has to do with energy. Government will defray that. So that companies will continue to flourish and export, because the issue is balancing the naira and the dollars. If there is no exports, we continue working on champagne. Nigeria is the second largest importer of champagne in the world. And we are not exporting anything. So what do you expect?
Enjoy too much.
Yes, so what do you expect of our naira? So if you want champagne, you want toothpick, you want even handkerchiefs, you have to import it. It's what's unfortunate. These are things that the textiles can do. So we balance up the naira and the dollar. Because if there's no export, you continue becoming a consumer nation, then definitely the dollar will continue to rise up. And we'll have a problem in international trade generally. Even our school fees, health for our students and what have you. The dollar is key. So we must balance it with export. Now, government has said that, particularly NEPC, has said that it will encourage non-oil export. So non-oil export is not about bringing more FDI. What have you done with the FDI you have in the country? Have you visited them? Have you visited them to check to find out what are their problems? What are the issues on ground? So that you encourage export. They don't continue going up abroad, going that civil servants will enjoy Estacod, and forgetting about the textile or the industries that are in the country. Go visit them, find out their problems, encourage them to export, and that's how things will be done.
Now, I'm worried. Allow me to just jump in before you continue, because I identify some of the challenges.
Yeah.
Smuggling, bridled imports.
Precisely.
Inadequate power supply.
Correct.
Inconsistency of government policies. How do we, where do we start from?
Exactly, because when the government banned importation of textiles into this country,
Yes.
they made sure that they do something in such a way that the textiles will not close. So any import of fabric that comes to Nigeria, 10% levy is supposed to be given to textile industries so that they can compete. Because once you are not competitive, particularly on energy and overhead costs with other countries internationally, you need to benchmark these things to ensure that you're on good level with us, even in Africa, Ethiopia, South Africa, Europe, and the Americas, so that you can compete on ground level. Now, South Africa has about 50,000 megawatts of electricity. Nigeria, that has 200 million people, has just less than 10,000. And they cannot generate the whole 10,000. We can only generate 4,000. South Africa can generate the whole 50,000. And that means they are ready for industry. So if you are ready for industry, you have to plan all this, put this in place. All the subsidies we are doing on petroleum and all that, we are supposed to do subsidy for industry so that people can gain employment. But now we have lots of people lying at home, not doing anything. After graduation, they sit with their parents again. And that becomes a problem. It's frustrating. And that's why idle minds is a devil workshop. Yes. They pick so many other things and do it. So many people are in drugs, they are doing all these kind of things. Yahoo, 419, and in the north, you have lots of bandits, lots of kidnapping. So we must work on our industries to ensure that our dollar is strong, and we must export. So, but the main thing is that government has assisted. It's not that Bank of Industry has not done anything. They have retooled the textile industry to the level of 100 billion so that you can churn out quality and quantity goods. But as we are doing that, trying to look at obsolete machineries and try to revive that sector.
Yes.
China, India, they are busy looking at our products, our designs, and they have now instead flooded the markets. They flooded the markets. You go to Balogun, you go to Kantinkwari in Kano, you go to Onisha, none of our products can be found. Everything is counterfeited. Because government is encouraging the textiles to go backward integration. Backward integration meaning that you have to use our raw materials locally. And that's what we're doing. We're using the cotton. So if we are forced to use cotton, and others are coming in with fake products because they are using polyester, it's not good for the skin. The polyester you are using cotton is better with less sweat and what have you, less pollution to the environment, and doesn't damage the skin when you use cotton. And those ones, and they wash easily. So when they bring the fake one, they take our design. Nobody will know the difference. Ankara will come in, and then it will wash easily. And then they blame the textile manufacturer. But that is not our product. Those products come from outside because they sell cheaper.
That is
exactly. And so they sell it at 5 yards at 1,000. We cannot afford to sell at 1,000, 5 yards. Our prices go from 4,000 above. And when somebody brings 1,000, of course, they take over your market. OMB and all that, they won't use it for a long time. When they buy that one for 2-3 days, they don't care, they can dump it. So that is why something needs to be done deliberately on this industry. Ensure that we are competitive. The tariff of kilowatts hour for electricity should be like 4 cents, like the same applied to South Africa, Ethiopia, and even Uganda. They're giving that to the industry. So we must provide the enabling environment. When the ease of doing business came in, they didn't look at production. They're only looking at overhead costs so that we can match up with others, to benchmark Nigeria with other countries and see what they can do on electricity, so that we can go to the international market. We miss out AGOA. AGOA is African Growth and Opportunity Act, created created by Obama.
AFCFTA is there now.
No, but we have not started that one. That one is still coming.
We are hopeful.
So we are still discussing. We are really hopeful. Because now the rule of origin is important. That the products in AFCTA must be from Africa.
Yes.
But then when somebody comes with the product, he will do half of the job outside and then come and finish and do finishing in Africa. That is not what we are looking for. Because they must employ our people from beginning, that's from raw material to spinning to weaving and up to finishing. They must employ our people. That's why we are thinking that it will generate employment for people to benefit. It's not about just continuing again bringing fake products and we're employing Chinese. The workers are not there. So something must be done that this thing now must come from Africa, African trade between Africans, then we can benefit. But there must be rule of origin. We must know where it's coming from. Nobody should smuggle anything and say that this is their product. It must show made in where. It's made in Botswana or Malawi or even Zanzibar. It should show there, and then we should see the factory. Not just about putting made in that one. You see the factory that are employing people and ensure that it's made in Africa, then we can do business. Otherwise, they just go about counterfeiting, smuggling, filling our markets. Even with the closure of the border in Nigeria now, we have seen the impact. It was only the lineup of trucks at the borders.
Yes.
Filled up with textiles. They are coming into Nigeria, through Kano, and fill our market, Kantinkwari. You go there, you don't see our textiles. They're all filled up with that one. Sad. So any imports shouldn't be on land borders. Because Cotonou too is there through the Shame border and all that. It should go through our ports. And they'll be able to check what is inside there. And find a solution to what is being brought into Nigeria. And not anyhow. Any smuggled goods coming through those sides, the land borders. Anything imported, if it's not commodities, it should come through the ports. Then we'll know what has come. Otherwise, they continue to close our industries and employment will always go. Nothing can be done. So we believe the new minister will do justice to these issues. She's been a banker and then she was minister commissioner in her state.
Yeah.
She is a graduate of medicine, and then she's qualified. So we expect her to do one magic wand this time around and bring back our textile with the renewed hope that this will come back. Because now, when they go to India, they will see what is done in Indian textile mills. Yes. Since 1960, India had 4,000 textile mills. They have never closed. None has ever closed since then.
We had about 200,
about 200. And now just 24.
How is government even supporting by buying this made in Nigeria?
This is what we're saying. That is the question, actually. The executive order is there, or 3.
Yes.
So remember the executive order? Yes. The executive order by the president,
yes.
former president, that everybody must wear and eat made in Nigeria. When we're laughing at the Chinese that they eat frog, it's because Chinese close their border for 15 years and ensure that they eat what they produce. So if you are lampooning them that they are eating frogs, because it's what is available in their country, they don't need to import it. Because anything you import becomes a problem for you, and then it's not balanced with export, then the dollar will continue to rise up. So we hope something drastic will be done about industry this time around. Because during the former Vice President Oshibanjo said that what is needed for infrastructure in Nigeria is about 3 trillion naira to build good infrastructure for this country. So, and then what they are looking, when they are talking about all these palliatives, nothing is being done, nothing is discussed about infrastructure. It's stomach infrastructure everybody is talking about. But we must build our industries. We must provide enough infrastructure for people to grow. And people should have decent jobs and grow there. Government is saying they don't have employment now. They are pushing to private sector. But if you don't provide good enabling environment for them to grow and thrive, you lose out. Because how can they employ? They need to expand, and all this needs funds. And you need to export. We couldn't benefit. AGOA is African growth, and other countries' GDP in Africa has grown due to this simple AGOA. Yeah. African Growth and Opportunity Act. Yeah. Small countries in South Africa, Eswatini, Lesotho, most of East African countries, Ethiopia is benefiting seriously on all this. And their GDP has grown. Textile alone was given 25% GDP in the 70s and 80s. Today, even the whole manufacturing in Nigeria is only 4%. So we have a lot to do. There must be a conference on the economy. You know, we have been so bedeviled with politics. We're concerned with politics. Every time, even the judgment they gave that day about politics, the whole day somebody was sitting down. So let them concentrate also on economy. Let's see how industry can grow. Let us have a conference. Forget political conference. Let's have economic conference.
But the real issue is to be trashed.
Yes, to be trashed, and then we'll find our level. And then we'll be counted among committee of nations that we are exporting. And our dollar will be balanced. And that's why people will be happy. But as long as we don't do that, and we are just working on stomach infrastructure, you give them the rice every time, this, and that, how long will that take them? So we want a permanent job for people to take and enjoy themselves and reduce the poverty all over. Because if you are giving 8,000, giving a palliative, how long will that take them? So now that we are in penury, something good must come out. That industry should be built, and then people will have gainful employment. And then Nigeria will prosper as before. Because even mechanized farming is the cause. We have been there up to today. People are still bending, 8 hours bending, manual farming. Countries have grown. They're into mechanized farming. But the military came and they told us that the Nigerian problem was how to spend money. It's actually how to spend. If they had invested in mechanized farming, we would have been comparable with India and other countries that we're going to now. But everybody relaxed.
Oil money.
Yes, but see what Obasanjo said, how many ships he met when he was in 79? When he came back in 1999 now, everything has gone. There are no more airline. See Ethiopia. When you are landing at the airport, you see how many flights, how many. Why should our own be different? Aren't we Africans? We have good manpower. It's not a problem. We have good policies. And then we start talking of non-implementation. Isn't it still our people that implement? So we must implement our policies anytime they come and avoid policy somersaults.
I'm thinking of what your members will be going through right now at the moment, Employers Association.
Difficult times, people have closed down, people are downsizing.
Running on loans.
People are downsizing. Well, that's the issue. But they're not using our, textile adjustment tax. In 2016, fabric that came into Nigeria on imports is worth $4 billion. So 10% was supposed to go to textile. 10% of $4 billion will be $400 million. So if that is done every year, it means we'll just get grants instead of going for loans and pay high interest rates. That was a policy in 1987 when they lifted the ban on textile. So if they're importing, nobody's stopping them, like you have analyzed from MBS. Yeah. So the 10% goes to textile. Up to today, you see textile adjustment tax. Textile adjustment tax is at the port with the customs. So the policy is that they should release it to the industry. And then we don't need to go and collect loans with high interest rate. Now we can grow. If there's no infrastructure, we can compete. That can defray power price, power money and all that. Anything overhead costs, it will be at level at par with other countries. And therefore we can export. Because NEPC has never come to sit down with us. Nigerian Export Promotion Council has not asked us to discuss to see how we can continue exporting. So that the market level will be there.
Yeah.
But then with the small party, small exhibition in Dubai, they will go without looking at those around.
This is really serious.
Yes, because everybody wants Esther code and they go to Dubai and there's nobody comes for investment, there's no FDI. So put the textiles that are here on level playing ground and be able to export with other countries.
It's a good way to live. It's an interesting conversation, I must say, and it's something that really needs to be looked at in country. We need to start to look inward.
Yes, very, very well. That's the thinking.
That's the way.
That's thinking. We have to do that. And if we have to eat frog or whatever we have in this country, let's close our borders and then do made in Nigeria. In fact, that made in Nigeria, the Executive Council, Federal Executive Council, must launch it properly. Everybody, I'm sure the president wears made in Nigeria a lot. So everybody going one day, let them create a day that all of them wear made in Nigeria. And all governors also, their commissioners will wear made in Nigeria. Right. The local governments, troops down like that. Right. And then the ministries, the civil servants will copy and wear this made in Nigeria every day,
Yes.
then we can begin to come back. That's the only rate employment.
I must thank you so much, Director General, Nigerian Textile Employers Association, Mr. Haman Kwajafa. Thank you so much for your time on the program. We appreciate your contributions, and we'll keep a tab on this.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Pleasure.